Before we start, please like the video and subscribe to the channel. Please, not in order.
Specialization in medicine. It was not slaves who built the pyramids. Pharaohs were obese. Cleopatra is not Egyptian. Do you know her nationality? The first peace treaty in the world. Video games. Pharaonic women's rights. Hippo kills Tutankhamun. Pets. For more than 3,500 years, ancient Egypt was one of the most important and advanced civilizations in mankind and human history. That civilization created for us a rich culture in various subjects. From ancient Egyptian art to the charming architecture that was embodied in the building of pyramids and temples to its development in the field of science and medicine. But that is not all. There are many other things that most of us are ignorant of about the ancient Egyptian civilization. Cleopatra. Cleopatra was not Egyptian. There is no doubt that Queen Cleopatra is one of the most famous pharaonic figures that may occur to all of us when we think of this civilization. Although Cleopatra was born in Alexandria until she belongs to the descendants of the Macedonian Greeks, especially those who descended from Ptolemy I, who was a follower of Alexander the Great. Where the Ptolemaic dynasty ruled Egypt from 323 to 30 BC, who were greatly influenced by the pharaonic culture and merged with it. Cleopatra was one of the first members of that family to speak the Egyptian language fluently. The first peace treaty. The ancient Egyptians recorded the first peace treaty in the world. The ancient Egyptians were in a 2-century war with the Hittite Empire for control of the lands of Syria, and this long conflict led to many bloody wars and battles, such as the Battle of Kadesh in 1274 BC, and despite those long wars, the matter did not end with the victory of either side. And when the pharaoh took over, Ramses II al-Hakam signed a peace treaty with the Hittite Emperor Tassili III. And this treaty ended the conflict between the two parties and agreed to cooperate with each other when any party was invaded by a third party. And this Egyptian-Hittite treaty was known as the oldest peace treaty in the world. Ancient Egyptians, after finishing work, relaxed at the end of their hard day and played board games. Various matches were organized in those games, and the most famous of these games was known as Senate, which dates back to 3500 BC. The women of ancient Egypt enjoyed many freedoms and rights. The women of ancient Egypt enjoyed many legal, social and financial independence, as they could sell and buy property, submit claims to a jury, enter into legal treaties, and file for divorce. They were also receiving wages equal to those of men, unlike many civilizations in that period, such as the Greek civilization, which considered women the private property of their husbands. Work strike. Although the ancient Egyptians considered the pharaoh as a living deity on earth, the workers were not afraid to organize protests and demand the improvement of their reality. In the 12th century BC, during the reign of Pharaoh Ramses III, workers did not receive their usual wages during the construction of the royal cemetery, so they organized one of the first strikes recorded in human history. Pharaohs of ancient Egypt were often obese. Although the pharaohs were portrayed in temples as being beautiful and slender, the reality was often the opposite, as the Egyptian diet was high in sugar due to their reliance on beer, bread, honey and wine. Most of the pharaohs suffered from excess weight, and some of them also suffered from diabetes. The pyramids were not built by slaves. The pyramids were not built by slaves as is common, but by professionals and skilled hired craftsmen. King Tutankhamun was killed by a hippo. Tutankhamun was embalmed without a heart or a chest, and this contravenes the pharaoh's customs of burial and embalming. Therefore, it is likely that he suffered a terrible accident that led to his death, and one of the most likely reasons was that he was killed by a hippopotamus, as the pharaohs were fond of hunting, playing with and dueling animals in the arenas. And King Tut was fond of this sport and used to practice it a lot according to what was written and inscribed in the temples, so it is likely that he died at the hands of a hippo while pursuing him. Some doctors in ancient Egypt specialized in specific fields. It is known in most civilizations of that period that the doctor is comprehensive in treating all injuries and diseases. But studies have shown that some Egyptian doctors specialize in treating specific parts of the human body, such as doctors specializing in eye diseases, dentists, and abdominologists. Makeup for women and men in ancient Egypt. Beauty was an essential thing in the ancient Egyptian civilization, as it was considered a ritual of their religions, so men put a lot of makeup as women did. So they used eyeliner for eyes and dyes for hair and fingernails, and cosmetics were used for therapeutic matters. The ancient Egyptians loved having pets. The ancient Egyptians loved keeping pets. Pharaohs loved animals and considered them embodiments of some deities. They used to raise cats, dogs, lions, and falcons in their homes and often embalm them and bury them with their owners. They also used dogs and monkeys for security purposes.
I'll meet you in a new story tomorrow, God willing. If you like the video, click like me and subscribe to the channel to receive all new